Wednesday, November the 10th. Free licence, bigger pension, still they moan. IRA have peace formula. Try this one. Stop killing people. Lords pass disability cuts. Hoddle says, I told you so. Please welcome the man who old people would gladly pay a licence fee to see, Mr. Iain Lee.
Welcome to the 11 o'clock show. Thank God for the Lords. Like Monica Lewinsky, they might be going down, but they ain't going down without a fuss. God bless them, they've had one last stab at rebellion over Labour's new welfare reform bill, which sticks the boot in the disabled. How ironic that it's people in wheelchairs who are standing up for their rights. Are disabled people the only ones prepared to fight? Will it be them that lead us to the barricades? And if they do, I hope there aren't too many stairs. It don't get much better than this, stick with me. The Lords, of course, have a vested interest. Most car parks have 2 or 3 bays dedicated to disabled parking and 300 ordinary spaces. With the House of Lords car park, it's the complete opposite. So what's the fuss all about? The government is looking for ways to cut back on payments to the disabled. They're even talking about means testing, which might sound reasonable to you, but bear in mind, if Tony Blair gets his way, the test will include an assault course. He's just not sure whether to base it on the Krypton factor or gladiators. Who knows? But please would you welcome the girl who's always in a welfare state, Daisy Donovan. So, Daisy, what do you think of the disability benefits?
Well, actually, there are lots of benefits for being disabled. Think about it. How else are you going to get your photo taken with Esther Ranson? Unless you're a funny-shaped vegetable.
Right, I'm going to stop you there. Perhaps you better tell us what's on tonight's show.
Right. Booyah, Kasha! We cash in on Ali G as he meets world-renowned economist J.K. Galbraith.
How much money do I need to be a millionaire?
$1 million or £1 million.
For real, that is a lot of money. Can I still be a millionaire if I've got, like, £17,000 or something like that?
Certainly not.
And we meet football commentator and all-round it's a knockout nut job, Stuart Hall.
But now here's the headlines. And tonight's main stories. It's been revealed that the royal party send out very specific lists of likes and dislikes when touring. The Queen's list of dislikes includes spicy food and local mineral water, while Prince Philip's list of dislikes include chinkies, kinkies, fops, wops, dago, solos, mixed spicks and puffs.
Nick Faldo announced his engagement to glamorous 26-year-old Valerie Bircher today. It'll be his 3rd wife, so that means he's on the 9th hole.
Doctors have warned that using the phone could lead to a series of strokes, particularly phoning an 0898 number. One phone user has suffered 2 strokes. He's been warned that at the 3rd stroke, it'll be 11:35 precisely.
Pensions are set to rise by 75p a week. This generous extra has thrown up the age-old dilemma, tea or hookers?
Well, for me, it'll buy me another cup of tea.
A cup of tea? All pensioners should get it, no matter how old they are.
Hookers it is, then. At the same time, cigarettes are set to rise by 20p a pack, but it's all right because the money is going to the NHS. It's prompted the government to reconsider their attitude to health warnings. As you can see, the new warning reads, cigarettes can kill, but they probably won't, so go on, treat yourselves.
And those were today's headlines. What do you think about Gordon Brown's announcement of a free TV licence to everyone over 75, Iain?
I think it's absolutely brilliant. I can think of no better reward for someone who's given years of honourable service to this country, perhaps even risked their life in a war, than by letting them end their days cold, alone, and staring at a flickering box in the corner of their empty homes.
But is the future really so rosy? Here's Alan Francis with his report on all of Gordon's promises.
Pensioners had a good reason to turn their volume knobs even higher today, as the Chancellor decided they no longer had to worry about a visit from the detector van. In his pre-budget budget, Gordon Brown, texture like sun, announced 2 central initiatives. free TV licences for the over 75s, and a unique initiative which will mean that money raised from taxes will be ring-fenced and then spent on the appropriate services. For example, the £300 million raised from levies on smoking will go directly to the NHS to combat heart and lung diseases. Money raised by taxes on motoring will be put into the roads and public transport. And there will be more money for wrist clinics and blind charities, as Brown announced a levy on wank mags. The Chancellor's statement was met with mixed feelings in other quarters as he continued with his swings and roundabouts approach to taxation. Despite a rise in their pensions and a free TV licence, the elderly will be hit hard by a 10% rise in the price of Werther's Originals. That was celebrated as the highly unpopular 6% annual fuel hike was scrapped. However, they were left feeling unsatisfied by the news that the government intends to tax blowjobs in lay-bys. Gordon Brown also came under fire for not simply giving the pensioners £100 instead of the licence fee. But Brown countered by saying that they'd only go and give it to a spotty teenager in a shell suit who was pretending to be the wallet inspector. So what kind of person will benefit from this pre-budget which caters for pensioners, smokers and road users? Well, if Doc Cotton ran a haulage firm, she'd be laughing all the way to the bank. This is Alan Francis for the 11 o'clock show, London.
We've seen his definitive A to Z of news and incisive reports, so who better to give us a roundup of this week's current affairs than Ricky Gervais? Gervais?
Oggy. My mate's in.
OK, calm down, Ricky. This is a serious news show. What grabbed your attention in today's papers?
I'll be honest, I don't read them, but tell me what you're going to talk about and I'll tell you the score. Oh, I saw that thing you were talking about, the disableds getting up in arms about their benefit being cut and being means tested. And there was a fella on the telly. He was going, "Oh, I'm disabled." He wasn't disabled. He could walk. He wasn't blind. He was a funny-looking, weird little fella, though. He works. He's always worked. Those ones off Time Bandits. They're always working, especially this time of year with panto and shit like that. But I mean, I want to know how they're going to means test him, see, because you've got a fella going into the DHS every week with a tartan blanket over his legs. We can all do that. I've done it. I actually claimed successfully for... I was pretending to be disabled. I was getting £300 a week. I actually successfully claimed for a new pair of football boots. That's how stupid they are. But I mean, it's the same as with deaf. Anyone can pretend to be deaf, can't they? So, have you seen The Great Escape?
Yeah, of course.
Gordon Jackson, he's just getting on the train, and he's been speaking German, gets on the train, suddenly the crowd goes, "Have a nice day," and he goes, "Cheers." Oh, he's fallen for it, you see, and he gets shot. I'm not saying shoot them, they're good, right? But when they come in, they go, "So you're deaf, are you?" And they go, "Yeah, I'm deaf." Right? "I'm lip reading." You go, "Here's your £300, off you go." As they turn round to go to the door, you go, "Are you a bender?" They go, "No, I'm not," and you've caught them. And if they go, "Yeah, I am, do you want some?" You've still caught them. You can't lose. Do blind people still get £2 off their colour licence?
Yeah, I think so.
What if their family's watching it? They're having a laugh at our expense.
Yeah, Ricky, can we leave the disabled stuff? It's just mildly offensive.
Go on.
What do you think of Tony Blair ordering that the Gurkhas be present at the cenotaph?
Good idea. Send them in first in case there's any trouble.
Ricky, have you been following the Berlin Wall celebrations?
Oh, no, a true fact about this. It's true story, this, right? That's the only man-made structure that you can see from outer space.
Right, you're actually thinking of the Great Wall of China.
What are you talking about?
Berlin Wall.
Right, just stay there 1 second.
Coming up in part 2, Ali G.
Recognise! Check me after the break talking to none other than J.K. Galbraith. Bow!
But before the break, this. It's the new Barbie-style doll specially designed to give young girls a more positive role model. And it's a realistic size 16.
Of course, to show that the larger lady can get a boyfriend, she will be accompanied by this new style Ken doll. As you can see, the male doll has a pull string so that he can talk to his girlfriend, like so.
You're not fat, you're just big boned.
Right, she is a fat lass. See you after the break. Welcome back to the 11 o'clock show. Now that I'm a really big star, I can demand anything I like for my dress room. Fantastic. I've got a Simpsons towel, a digital radio alarm clock, and I get a Ferrero Rocher every night. What about you, Daisy? What do you get?
What's a dressing room? Well, it's not just Iain that gets great perks. The Queen's demands for her current trip to Ghana have been leaked to the press, showing she's got a bigger rider than Def Leppard and 2 working hands. Hit it.
But what if the royals were to turn up at your house? How can you be sure you'd meet their high demands? Well, here's how, with our Royal Rider do's and don'ts. 1 does.
Provide the royal bedroom with crisp white cotton sheets and blankets. 1 doesn't.
Sling a camp bed in the spare room, chuck the Queen a Spider-Man duvet and tell her that if it makes her uncomfortable, she can turn the Diana plate round.
1 does.
Greet the Queen with a slightly bowed head. 1 doesn't.
Greet the Queen with, "You're a lot bigger in real life than you look on the stamps."
1 does.
Make sure the Queen has English marmalade and wholemeal toast for breakfast. 1 doesn't.
Ask if she wouldn't mind popping out for 10 minutes, only housing benefit are coming round and you don't want to think you're knobbing her.
And finally, and most importantly, 1 does.
Ensure there's no television in the bedroom. 1 doesn't.
Force her to watch your favourite episode of Animal Hospital, the one where a corgi chokes on a 10p piece, with her face on it.
And that was the royal do's and don'ts. This weekend sees England-Scotland's European qualifier. I'm here to look forward to the clash is Radio 5 star commentator Stuart Hall.
Wow!
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Night's candles are burnt out and Ross at dawn stands tiptoe on the sleeping mountain.
Now, a poll says that 1 in 3 British people want to scrap the monarchy. You co-produced It's a Royal Knockout, which destroyed the reputation of the royal family.
Are you saying I brought down the House of Windsor?
I'm sort of implying it, yeah.
Not true.
Do you not think you did
No,
that?
of course not. No, done before me.
Well, your original and best 70s version got 18 million viewers.
Yes.
What do you think made it so popular?
It's a knockout, Jeux sans frontières, Spiel ohne Grenzen, took boys and girls from this country and introduced them to different cultures all around the world. And us to different cultures as well. And that was the whole point. We had a point of contact with Europe.
Yeah,
we're in the European Union and have no idea, and none of us have, what's happening in those countries.
OK, we're talking about the foreign countries. When you did the internationals, which nation cheated the most?
Well, it's rather difficult. The Italians were rather notorious for it.
Really?
What's the dirtiest trick the French played?
The dirtiest trick the French played is speaking French.
Now, you used to play for Crystal Palace, didn't you? Why did you give up professional football?
There was no money in it.
You've also played in a celebrity football team as well, alongside, let me get this right, depressed mimic Mike Yarwood and dilapidated star George Best. Laugh a minute, was it?
George Best was one of the greatest footballers the world's ever lived.
Of course, fantastic.
Alongside Pele and Sandy Matthews and Maradona.
Yeah.
Though you can't deride George. He took to the drink.
But he used to run around laughing while he was playing. I mean, but wasn't he...
Why not? What's wrong with that?
He was pissed.
So what?
Everybody do that.
I don't care. George Best Pissed is a better player than most of the England team who are taking the field at Hampden Park on Saturday.
Who are you going to be laughing at on Saturday?
The England-Scotland game.
It's going to be 0-0, boring. A battle of attrition, all midfield. No goals, no skill, no rhythm, no style.
Now, Stuart, you're renowned as a football commentator. You make everything you say sound fun and exciting. Do you think you can give us a commentary of these dynamic dictators?
Zdrowia! It's Boris doing his Smirnoff commercial. What do you mean? Sample the product. Break balls, drop bombs, get stinking rat ass. An inspiration for the Scots. And here's somebody feeling chilly. Yes. What's the recipe there? Deport half the country, tax the rest, live on the fruit just like Gordon Brown. And finally, Il Papa. The Vatican is worth billions and billions, but will you buy a second-hand Bible from that man?
Ladies and gentlemen, Stuart Hall!
I'm not good! I'm safe! I'm not good!
More fox hunt-based rallying went off this morning in Cardiff, and why not? It's a free country. If you're an ignorant townie and would rather condemn than understand, here are 5 top facts on fox hunting.
1. Hunting is the single most humane method of controlling the fox population that thick, rich people have ever devised.
2. Hunting is an ancient countryside tradition, like drowning witches, chasing cheese down hills and having 6 fingers.
3. 3. Being on the hunt is a jolly thrill. For townsfolk who don't understand, it's equivalent to driving a stolen Mondeo through the Arndale Centre. It's that much fun.
4. People think foxes die in pain. This is a myth created by the foxes themselves. Why? We don't know. They're just too wily and crafty to tell us.
5. Hunting is part of our cultural heritage, and without tradition, our nation will fall apart. Think how much the crime rate has soared since they banned cockfighting, bear baiting and scalp fucking. People who hunt foxes are good eggs, and they all love their mums. A bit too much.
Now, Daisy, have you heard about the new Brad Pitt film, Fight Club?
Yeah, it's just men smashing each other around the face as an excuse to see Brad Pitt with his shirt off.
Yeah, and it's got some tits in it. I've got a couple of tickets.
Oh, come then.
Sorry, just so I can go and see it twice. But do men need Fight Club to tell us what it means to be a man? I hit the streets to find out.
The papers today are full of the news that 90s men feel emasculated and weedy. But what actually makes a man a man? Is it the ability to cry at a swan or the strength to beat the shit out of some skinheads? I've come here to London to find out. Do you think the 90s man has become more emasculated?
Emasculated? I'm not sure.
What that means?
I'm not sure if they have become more emasculated.
Do you know what it means?
More masculine?
Are you a Benny tied to a tree? No. Oh, Benny on the loose, Benny on the loose! Does fighting impress the girls?
Some girls, possibly.
Which kind of girls? Rough slappers or nice girls?
Slappers, yeah.
Do you find me attractive?
Yeah.
Now, if I do this... Does that make me more attractive?
No.
No?
No.
I'm just doing the Karate Kid pose. Is it right for me to be a grown man to be cheering on young kids fighting?
No.
Right. Yeah. I've got 50 quid on one of them. Yeah, I am encouraging them to be men. Yeah. Go on, put the boot in! Fight! 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 Really give it to him. How many press-ups can you do?
About 40.
Let's have a look, come on. Let's have a look, see what you can do. Supposing we're in a pub situation, and obviously without hurting me, show me how you'd beat me up. What would you do to me?
Without hurting you?
Oh, well, OK, you can hurt me if you want.
I'd stick my thumb in your eye, and I'd shove that
You'd thumb my eyes?
I'd shove that other one up there, and I'd lift you on the weight of my thumb. That'd stop you.
Is that really what?
Do you want me to try it?
Yeah, please.
In there, like that.
Jesus! Do you feel like a man? Idiot, but yeah, you look like one, but you're doing well. I've lost count now. Let's start from 1. Peter, I've had some bad news. My cat's gay. I could really do with a hug.
No, I won't hug you.
Why not? Yes, you will. Come here, Peter. Come and get up. Come and get up. So there we have it. It appears the 90s man needs to find a compromise, which I think I've done. I've got the softness of leather and the toughness of wearing a hat. This has been Iain Lee, The 11 O'Clock Show, London.
Now time for more news just in.
Yesterday was National Curry Day. Today is I wouldn't go in there for a couple of minutes day.
The Curry King of Newcastle is hoping to be in the record books after making a 3-foot chapati. Prince Charles, on the other hand, has a 4-foot naan.
In Romania, Maria Bujania has forgiven her husband for hammering a 4-inch nail into her head. She says it was a misunderstanding. She simply asked for a screw.
Ava Morris, Britain's oldest person, has celebrated her 114th birthday this week. Sadly, she's in hospital recovering after fellow residents at her Staffordshire nursing home gave her the bumps.
And that was more news just in. Now, Daisy, if I say economy, what do you think of?
I think of Gordon Brown, the Financial Times, Nanette Newman.
Well, in learned circles, the first name everyone thinks of is the world's greatest living economist, J.K. Galbraith. And who better to meet him than the world's most unlearned man, Ali G.
You don't stop. It goes out to the crew up top. That's it.
Hear me now. I is here with none other than Professor J.K. Galbraith, MB, the most renowned economist in the world. What is supply and demand? Is it like with me Julie? I supply it and she demand it.
Supply and demand is an old economic expression.
Is it like in my school, everyone was well into Tashhid Vegi because she was all well fit and had nice skin and whatever, and you had to spend 75p even for a touch outside the clothes. And Zoe Lewis, who was a bit dodgy, looked a bit rough, she was 25p for fingers and thumbs. So what notes do you have here?
Dollars, $5, $10.
Would it not be more convenient if instead of having like just a $10 bill and a $20 bill, you had like a $5.19 bill, or like a $12.48 bill, or like a $48.05 bill, or like a $78.03 bill, or like a $267.54 bill, or like a $380.09 bill. Then you could pay for everything with one note, innit?
I have no hesitation in saying that that would be so complicated that only you and a few other people would understand it.
How much money do I need to be a millionaire?
$1 million or £1 million.
For real, that is a lot of money. Can I still be a millionaire if I've got, like, £17,000 or something like that?
Certainly not.
Ain't that racialist?
This is a simple arithmetic matter. A millionaire is somebody with $1 million.
How could I be a millionaire?
You would have to have a very shrewd knowledge of the working of the economy.
I've got an idea and I want to run it by you, Professor Galbraith. What is everyone in the world got? Feet, right? And what do they want their feet to become? Comfy. How do they make their feet comfy? One word.
Shoes.
Slippers. So my idea is to make slippers.
Well, you will not be the only person with that idea.
What? Well, check this. I was going to use the intranet, and I was going to do it on wwf.slippers.com. What do you think about that?
I would point out that you will only become a millionaire making slippers, internet or not, if you make them cheaper than anybody else.
What happened if I use the intranet and I do it instead of that address on www.swedishfunny.com? Because then everyone would think that they're going over to see some nice girls or whatever. And what would they see? My slippers.
Okay, that's your risk, fortunately, and not mine.
Do you want to invest some money in it?
Certainly not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Big up yourself. The most famous and the greatest economist in the world, Professor J.K. Galbraith, in the house. Maximum respect. And if you ever want to join me over the slippers, that offer is still open.
Tomorrow night, our special guest will be world champion women's boxer Jane Couch.
But just before we go, Britain's largest ever find of Roman coins has been unearthed. They were discovered down the back of Britain's largest Roman sofa.
Good night.
Good night.